All right.
All right, I'm back.
You come back just in time. Welcome, everyone, to another Sound Goblin Tuesday gaming session here at Sound Goblin Gaming. I am, as always, your host, the Krampus.
I'm Bograt.
I'm Hunter Green.
And I'm Vincent.
All right, and now that we are done with Phoenix Point, I figure it's time to shift gears and do a game that doesn't involve the imminent death of the entire world.
Well,
Well, okay. The imminent death of the
Not on
entire world
surface.
at crab people. Weird lobster men.
I don't think there are crab Yaogwai, so I think you're safe. Yes.
So anyway, for a change of pace, we're going to be playing Amazing Cultivation Simulator, which is a colony builder / life sim where you raise a sect of martial artists in the vein of like the old wuxia movies or modern wuxia. Now, I'm going to be up front. I don't have as much experience in this, so we brought Bograt in, who does have a lot of experience with the genre and with this game.
Yeah, I've been running my own sect here for a little while, and yeah, I watch a lot of wuxia films.
All right.
So to give a little bit more detail about this, this game is very similar in style to something like a RimWorld or a Dwarf Fortress, in that you can kind of vaguely suggest to your sect members that there are things that need to be done, and fiddle with it that way, and you can't really directly tell them to do stuff most of the time.
Yeah, this is a management game, not really a you build it yourself kind of game. So we are going to go with basically all the regular settings here. I'm not really going to fiddle around with any of the things in the setup menu.
Yeah, they're all pretty fine, and you can also adjust them pretty much whenever. There's a bunch of variant stuff you can do in the game, but at least for the very start, it's pretty good to go with the basic stuff.
Yeah.
This is just a little bit of backstory. Essentially, we were all part of the Taiyi sect, which got massacred and destroyed, and we managed to escape. So we start with potentially... you can go ahead and close that little window.
Yeah.
That's not actually that important for now. We start with anywhere from 1 to 3 disciples. In the sense that if you look down at the bottom there where there are perks, there is actually a perk that is something along the lines of loner. I don't remember what the actual translation is. I don't think you can do it as a Yaogwai.
Yeah.
But it basically means you only start with one disciple, which is a much harder start. But yeah, so we have our 3 starting disciples.
Yeah. So we have up to three characters that we can start with. We are going to start with the full 3 just to make it easier on myself. And each character has different levels of skill in certain things. You can see them over here on the side. Mining, farming, construction, crafting, so on and so forth. Having a good spread of abilities is good, because at some point or another we'll need to do all of these things. So the higher your skills are, the better. I am going to make it easier on myself, and our sect leader is going to be a human of some sort. And we will go into why it needs to be a human of some sort for an easier start in a second here.
That face is amazing.
Yeah, the art in this game is really good.
Oh, I meant on the 3D model.
Oh,
That stare. They have seen some things.
let's see.
Also, hey, Morton.
Hey, Gordon.
So one thing worth noting is that there are essentially 2 styles of disciple in this game. You have outer disciples, which is your normal sort of mortal characters, and then once you have eventually cultivated your key to the point where you have, actually basically been able to sort of sink yourself into one of the sort of mysteries, one of the actual cultivator schools. You then become an inner disciple. And one of the important things to know is that inner disciples do not do any form of menial labor. They will not mine, they will not farm, they will not build things like buildings and stuff. They will not cook, none of it. So,
So
you
you can't.
always want to have some outer disciples around to actually make shit, because while inner disciples don't actually need to like eat and stuff in order to stay alive because they are sustained by their own ki, uh, any outer disciples you have still do. And so you never want to have your sect be entirely inner disciples, otherwise you can basically never really recruit anybody else.
Yeah, so you don't want to turn everyone into muscle wizards, because eventually you just have no one who can do most of the stuff that's needed for keeping a site alive.
So you may have noticed there are humans, and then there are what are called Yaoguai. Yaoguai are animals that developed some degree of understanding and knowledge, and became sort of human-animal hybrids. The thing about Yaoguai is that all Yaoguai will eventually face a trial. You can see their Shapeshift Tribulation, 73 days. That means that in 73 days, if we keep Zhu Zhijin here, Zhu Zhijin will undergo a tribulation, at the outcome of which he will either become human, which is the good result, or he will turn into a demon, which is real bad.
Yeah.
The balance factor to this is that Yaoguai typically have way better stats than humans, just by virtue of, like you can see here, the
He's
like,
got 12
personality.
construction, he's got 20 crafting.
The skills are not necessarily that much
Oh,
better. You
okay.
can get humans with that skills. It's the actual stats there. You see that his perception and constitution are monstrous.
Yeah. He has a lot of con, he has a lot of perception. He's pretty good with
Yeah, you can see
potential.
these stats are out of 10. So
Yeah. Whereas,
I think
like,
a 7.6 con and like an 8.2 perception. Yeah, most of your higher end humans are going to start with maybe a 5 or 6 in their highest stat, which granted can still be really good, but
yeah.
And then down at the bottom, as you can see, on the sect leader specifically, you have the option of picking perks. A lot of these are just sort of starting things that are sort of indicative of, oh, when you escaped from, Tai Yi, you were able to take this with you. You got manuals for this, that, or the other. Loner, like I said, gives you 3 extra points for perks, but means that you're alone. Reticent, I believe, takes away 1 of your 3
Yes.
disciples, but gives you 1 extra point.
Yeah, it just gives you 1 extra friend. So, do you have any perk recommendations for us?
So, you can see at the very start here, there's a bunch of stuff: 16 Steps Disciple, Plow Disciple, Reincarnation Disciple, True Sun Disciple, etc. So these are actually the schools of cultivation, and what I'm going to recommend is taking at least one of those. But if you hover over them, they will actually tell you, and this is one of the mods we installed, they will tell you what stats they are based on. I'm not going to recommend a particular one of these. I would say take a look at them. They give you a brief description of kind of what, they sort of give you a little idea based on those stats of what they do. So I would say pick which one you want to take, and then re-roll your leader until you get one whose stats match up well to that.
I think we've already got one who fits for True Sun Disciple. Because mediocre charisma,
intelligence, luck.
Yeah. Those are all things he's good at.
It's pretty solid. True Sun is not bad at all. So you can see, as soon as you took that one, even though you have points for them, all the other ones, the Sunflower Disciple, Plow Disciple, etc., all grayed out. Those ones, the Sword Legacy and stuff, grayed out because those are all 5 points.
Yes.
But you can only take one of those legacies.
Okay. So, and then these are all the extra things that we can start with. Like if I take Builder, I start with a bunch of extra resources. if I take Talisman Savior, we got some extra talismans and stuff like that. So I think what we're going to go with is we're going to go with Builder. We got 2 perk points left.
You can also see, by the way, if you look at your leader's stat bar now, the little grid there, that little blue thing that showed up is actually the stat lineup for the school you have chosen.
Huh.
The closer you are to filling that, the better your advancement in that school will be.
Nice.
So he is not only damn near perfect, but actually excels even beyond what is expected for True Sun Refining.
Nice. Okay. And I think the other thing we're going to take is take the manuals. So we've saved some extra books and written documents and stuff from the temple. So
you can end up with some really funny shit that way.
All right.
So that being said, you can also go ahead and change the names of these guys here.
So we're going to start with... the first 3 we're going to just name for the people in the stream here.
Yay.
Don't name one after me. I've got a whole list of shit.
Okay.
So I created a whole table of Wuxia-inspired names and such.
Oh boy.
That every time, and this will be to Krampus's determination, whether we want to rename them when they become inner disciples or if we want to rename them when they join our sect. But basically, every time we recruit someone, I can generate a name for them that will be very Wuxia inspired. So as you saw, they do default name and they do them in the actual Chinese, but obviously we can't understand Chinese for shit, and it would be very quick to kind of lose track of who was who because you end up with a bunch of Chinese names that don't really mean much to us. So
yeah, and the only way to try to do Chinese names with that would mean something, you kind of sound racist in doing so. So
yep, so we're going to go with titles, which not only works better for us, but sounds cool.
Yeah.
It is worth noting down at the bottom there next to the randomize button. Yeah, just go ahead and okay on that. That's one of the mods popping up stuff. When you're creating the characters, you have the button down at the bottom which says Reincarnators. So Reincarnators are special characters. You have to know their specific names to actually get them, but they are cheaty as shit.
Yeah, they're essentially cheat codes you can put in. I want to spawn this specific person who has really good stats and really good skills, and yeah.
So you can see here, we now have the list of laws, and because we started with True Sun Refining Law, we have access to that. We do not have the other laws as of yet that are the core laws of the Tai Yi sect, but you will notice that each one of the laws is associated with one of the elements. So True Sun Refining Law is, well,
True Sun is fire.
True Sun Refining is fire. Grand Chariot Wisdom Law is metal, I believe.
Grand Chariot, I think that's metal. I'd have to check. Yeah, metal.
Yeah, that's metal. 6, the 5 classic elements.
Yeah.
Wood, metal, water, fire, earth.
Yep.
So there is one law available to us for each of those, and then we also have this extra law here that is currently in Chinese because it was, I think, added by one of the mods. And
yes, we are playing the modded. There is some stuff in here that just does not translate, so we're gonna have the occasional untranslated string show up. But basically, these are the levels of True Sun Refining Law. You start in... Once you actually undertake it, you start in Man-Made Fire, then go to Earth Fire, Heaven Fire, Divine Fire. As I recall, True Sun Refining Law is also the one that has a chance of immolating you.
It doesn't necessarily immolate you. You just burn your internal organs in the pursuit of immortality.
Fair enough.
Seems safe.
Okay.
Basically, True Sun Refining Law is probably one of the more dangerous of the starting 5 laws, solely because, as a practitioner of True Sun Refining Law, basically what happens is you are in a race against time to become the highest rank possible before you burn out your lifespan in pursuit of True Sun Refining, because it is worth noting that characters, so if you click on one of our disciples here, you'll get like a little stat block for them, and you see over on the side there's a bunch of little buttons. So if you click the top one that looks like a little silhouette of a person, we get their basic stats, and among those stats is lifespan. We don't know anyone's lifespan to start with until we start learning more about them, but you can see right now that the Krampus here is 23 years old. Most mortal humans, so most outer disciples, have a lifespan averaging between 60 and 80 years. Once you become a cultivator of some sort, this gets greatly extended. However, there are some laws, such as True Sun Refining, which expend said lifespan for the pursuit of power.
Yeah. Okay. So... basically what I've done here is we only have a few things to start with. We have the ability to explore, we have the ability to chop wood. We technically also have the ability to build simple things like a bonfire and stuff like that, but a lot of what we have available to us is determined by how big and prestigious of a sect we are, and we literally just ran out of the flaming ruins of our last sect and have made our way to this remote clearing. So, once you've set these explore flags, they're going to explore at those locations, and every time you start the game, you get this mysterious immortal event that starts up. And basically, this dude just teleports directly into your camp. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I knew your sect leader. Sucks what happened. I'll stick around and help you for a little bit." So basically, this guy is a combination hint system and guardian, in that as long as he's around, he will defend your sect from any like bandits or nasty things, and he won't help out in chores because he is the equivalent of an inner disciple. He's above
he's a
that
cultivator.
shit. But he will dispense wisdom and fight off bandits for you and stuff like that.
Yeah, it is a built-in safety net because by the random nature of the game, it is entirely possible that you literally spawn in here and like within 5 seconds have enemies showing up that you are not really ready to deal with, and it would be a very quick end to the game if the mysterious cultivator were not here to kick the ever-loving hell out of them.
Yes. So, revealing things around here, we've got a couple of bulls, a bird, a chicken, a hare.
So again, to kind of demonstrate what we were talking about earlier, as you saw there, Krampus put in explore orders, which was really just putting down those flags and saying, "Hey, I want to look over here," but could not actually explicitly tell one of his people to go do it. They just have the general order, and so they go and do it.
So we're going to build the first and only thing we can build, which is a fire. And by build, I mean we tell them build something. Hunter's coming over here and... things. You're going to see things pop up like this a lot, like just little boxes about what a given person at your sect is thinking. All of this ties into moods and social, and basically there is a giant spider's web of thoughts, feelings, and emotions going through your sect at any one time, and each thought kind of dominoes into another and dictates what they're doing. So, like, Hunter here is feeling good about himself, so he's going to be in a higher mood, he's going to have a higher chance of, like, actually doing stuff and being successful in things.
Hi there in chat. I am sad to say not a single one of us understands any Chinese, so we do not know what you just said.
Apologies about that, but welcome all the same. Okay. So, we've built our fire, and thus, once you build your fire, you get access to all the actual stuff. So, building brings us to feng shui. So there's certain rules that govern how you build things. And depending on what the buildings are made out of, what the floor is made out of, what decorations are around, and what those are made out of, the energies of the room will be different. That is why one of the dedicated buttons you have is just this complicated wheel of elements to show you what feeds into what and what inhibits what. Depending on what you want to do with the given room, and depending on who's going to use that given room, that can be good or bad. For example, as just a single example, eventually the Krampus is going to need to be in a very hot room, or a room that is aligned with fire to continue practicing the...
So just to clarify, to interpret how that is actually intended to be read, what you actually want the Krampus to be, if he's going to be doing true sun refining, is a wood-aligned room, because wood begets fire.
Okay. See, this is why I have you here, because I, like, half know all
Would
of
not
the
have guessed that
systems
at
here.
all.
Yeah, you actually want the one previous to it in the chain, because that feeds that type of key.
Got it.
Oh.
And you want to avoid the opposing. So you would not want him to be in metal or water, because those would, be bad. Particularly water is, because you can see there's the arrows that go in that direction.
Right.
Water overcomes fire, so it would suppress his fire energies. But you actually do specifically want a wood-aligned room for fire-based practitioners, because wood will feed fire better. You can get away with doing fire, and it will work, and it will provide some benefit. But yeah, you actually want to go with the one that begets the element you're going for.
Got it. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is we want to set up an area where we will store all of our stuff. And generally, I do the same thing I do in this game that I do in RimWorld, and I like to make a couple different small piles.
Yes, highly specific storage areas.
Yeah.
This comes in extremely handy later when you find stuff that is dangerous to store.
Yep. Okay, so this pile is just going to be for wood and rock and stone. Another box here we can search. Mail bowl. Whoops. Yeah. Even though they're technically connected spaces, they have different storage.
Yeah, so every time you drag one of these areas, it actually creates an entirely new separate selectable area.
Yeah.
This can get a little annoying later on when you're trying to just expand areas that already exist, because the best way to do that is to actually delete the existing areas and make an entire new one. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So you may notice over on the right-hand side, there's also a bunch of menu buttons there as well, with things like, formation, secret, work, etc. A lot of these don't do anything just yet because we don't actually have any cultivators or a sect. But if you actually click on work, you can see there, that's where you can set what types of work people can do, and you can see that they all have different rankings in those skills.
Yeah, and you can also see the affinity they have for those skills. So the more you do a skill, the more your skill raises. So, for example, even though we don't have Hunter doing hunting right now, he has 2 stars in hunting. So if we had him go out and hunt, he would get hunting skill faster than, say, the Krampus, who has no affinity for hunting.
And then on the right-hand side, you can also set specific priorities for these jobs, so that if there is, a bunch of stuff to do, person A, Hunter will prioritize doing this over anything else if there's a call to do it.
Yeah.
And then on the far right-hand side is the timetable, where you can actually change, what they're doing at various different hours of the day. Sleep is obvious. Work is doing these things. Eat is eating, and train is actually raising their key, which we'll show in a second here.
Yeah.
If you back out of this and click on one of them. So on that right-hand side, if you click the yin-yang, that is the cultivation menu. So you can see here that we are all currently in foundation training. If a outer disciple ever does not train in a day, they actually lose 1,000 foundation.
Yeah.
They need to get to 25,000 foundation in order to ascend to an inner disciple and begin cultivating under a school.
Yep. Now, we do have a quick bypass for our first inner disciple. We have this thing here called a forming pill. If anyone eats that forming pill, that person immediately gains enough to unlock the first level and become an inner disciple.
Yeah, that being said, it's usually not the best idea to do it until you have gotten some of the basics out of the way, just because, again, as soon as they are an inner disciple, they're no longer on your schedule. They just do whatever the hell they want.
Let's see, I believe we need... work. There we go. So we have timber station. We can cut timber. And once we get timber going, we can build like the bedrooms and stuff that we need to start off. Are you going to be chill? Hopefully you're going to be chill.
It's a bull. There's sort of even odds.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's close enough to be worrisome, but as long as we don't go beefing with the bull. Beefing with the bull. It's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, so there are wild animals that kind of rove around. Some are more aggressive than others. None of them are too difficult. Your outer disciples might get hurt trying to fight them, but you would have to not be paying attention to actually have an outer disciple killed by one of them.
Now, one of the other things you might see as we're going around the map here, you might occasionally see one of these trees here, which is glowing to all hell with spirit energy. These are just trees that have naturally acquired a lot of energy, and you generally at the start don't want to cut them down.
You'll sometimes also see ground that is glowing blue like that as well. That is sort of spirit soil.
Yeah.
Same deal. You typically want to kind of leave that alone and don't mess with it until later.
Yeah, there are very particular things you can do with them, and if you need some place that has wood element, those can be very sizable modifiers for wood element of a given area. You want to build like a useful area around it.
Just in general, they're pretty good early game for training near them because they will help increase how fast you gain foundation or key.
Yeah. All right. Oh, hold on a second. Do not chop. Harvest that pear tree. There are also certain trees around that are like ginkgo trees and pear trees. Rather than cutting them down immediately, you can harvest the fruit in them and get some extra food. All right. Let's start building actual rooms. And these don't have
up
to
at
be...
the top there is the
yeah.
little like tooltip. As you can see, the smallest you can make a room is 4. The largest you can make a room is 400. I have never found reason to make a room size 4. There have definitely been times where I've wished you could make a room larger than 400.
Yeah. Now, that being said, bedrooms do go south, right, Bograt?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, bedroom doors should be south.
Okay. One of the many reasons you should pay attention to the rules of how a room should be is it is possible to make a room that has such bad vibes it murders someone when they walk in. These are extreme cases, but they're not that extreme.
It is also worth noting we are going to want to definitely keep a special eye on Just Vincent over there.
Yes, we are going to need to keep a special eye on Just Vincent.
And check in on his cultivation fairly frequently.
Lest Vince, like in real life, turn into a giant boar monster and murder the lot of us if the heavens are displeased.
Only on Tuesdays.
But it's Tuesday today. Oh, God!
Oh! Autosave.
So I will say also, much like many other games of this style, you know, Dwarf Fortress, Oxygen Not Included, RimWorld, etc., you're almost guaranteed to fail horribly your first 2 or 3 times playing this.
Yeah. I have done this game a couple of times, and each time I get to a pretty good point, and then just either smash into a wall or the wall gets up and challenges me to a fist fight.
I may have started a new game very recently because I may have killed like 3 inner disciples accidentally through Frostbite. Look, they're wood-based. I built them rooms out of ice crystal. It's not my fault they can't put up with it being 60 below at all times. Just because your bed is made of ice, you're gonna whine and have, like, organ failure from frostbite? What kind of cultivator are you?
Alright, that's probably the other thing we need to do before too much longer. Back here behind the thing, area, make a field.
So it is important to note, Outer Disciples do require tools in order to do things. So, like,
yes,
if you don't have axes for them, they won't chop wood. They will not go out and punch trees.
Right. We did start with an axe, so...
Yeah, that's why we were able to chop wood to start with. But you basically, each disciple can hold a set of tools, basically.
Yeah.
And you can see there we just got a pop-up alert on the side there because we set up a field, but we don't actually have a farming tool made yet. So now it's just being like, hey, just Vincent needs a farm tool to be able to actually do this.
Yep. Which is why we are producing a farming tool and another axe for people to use.
Yeah, so the other thing you can do is if you click on that little workplace again, you can see in the top right corner of the box that's there is a priority gauge. You can change the priority of various workplaces and build orders in order to try and sort of encourage your people to do things in certain orders. But again, this is mostly at their discretion, and if they're 5 feet away from one thing that's lower priority than something they're 100 feet away from, chances are good they'll go to the closer one anyways, because they're all lazy assholes.
Yeah. And specifically, you can build tools out of a large variety of things, but obviously a tool made from metal is going to be better than a tool made from wood.
Well, that all depends on what you're using it for. Again, the elements are very important.
Okay, yeah, now I'm getting what you're saying.
So, for instance, farming tools are actually very good to make out of ice crystal if you have access to it, because that begets wood, which almost all plants are considered wood element. With the handful of rare exceptions of very specific plants that are aligned with the other elements.
Interesting.
At the moment, I wouldn't waste what ice crystal you have on that, though, since you have a very limited supply to start with.
Right.
But yes, the elements are always important to keep in mind based on what you're trying to do. Also, you may notice down towards the sort of side of your little storage area there, the thing with the little purple glow coming out of it. That is the Polaris casket.
So there's a bunch of rare things inside the casket?
Yep.
Alright.
You can try. You may not be able to open it yet.
Well, we'll see. If I'm thinking of making the Krampus a fire-based cultivator, I should probably build him a separate room from the get-go, huh?
I typically do not build the individual cultivator rooms until such time as they're getting close to reaching enlightenment, basically, or reaching their awakening.
Okay, and then finally, the most important part of any life simulator. Now that we're done going over the basics and stuff.
Yes, extreme speeding up through sleep cycles.
Yeah.
All right. Quick Google translation on the last two from our Chinese speaker. Loose translations are basically try not to die, and then just wait until there are too many things, and you can categorize them when they are hard to find, according to Google Translate. Which I would assume means just wait till you have so many things and have to sort stuff out.
Yeah. That's also a way of doing it, is just letting them pile up, and then once you have enough to actually worry about sorting, do it. But I'm the kind of, weird, everything in its place person who likes to sort everything out beforehand.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Also, sorry that I have been kind of silent recently. I went down a rabbit hole when someone was talking about what franchises have had the best streaks as far as game releases go, where each title was either on par or better than the previous one. And I went down a list because someone said Persona 3 through 5, and I just basically listed out of, so just so you know, from the original Persona 3 up through the most recent Persona 5 release, here's how many titles there are and how wide of a variety of games there are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the casket. This has, as you can see, a few extra manuals and the Dwobao obliterating sword.
Ah. Spark of inspiration.
Yeah, so these are things that'll happen occasionally. Again, just sort of random events. Um,
Oh, okay. Quality gains on everything. Got it. So it's basically the cultivator equivalent of a spark of inspiration, or the not spark of
yeah,
inspiration.
but Fey mood.
Fey mood, yeah. And one social level. Okay. Now I can build floors.
Yeah, so those can happen pretty much whenever you're doing kind of anything. Crafting, building, construction, farming, what have you.
Yeah, inspiration can happen anywhere.
It is worth noting, you may have spotted it before when Krampus was setting up the farming field. You can also use fields to intentionally grow trees, so lumber is not actually a particularly finite resource. That being said, this game does also have seasons. As you can see in the top left, we are currently in spring.
Yeah.
Day 10, spring, year 246. So there are some plants and trees and whatnot that will only grow during certain seasons. Oh, Hunter Green's been hurt.
Uh-oh.
Of course I have. What did I do?
Let's see. Well, let's go over to the status and health screen. Ah, you got a bruise. It's fine.
Oh, my tummy.
No, your right hand, actually.
Okay, we don't talk about what happens with the right hand. Sometimes you just want to punch down a tree, okay?
Actually, I think you hurt yourself picking up floor tiles.
Okay. Floor tiles can be sharp. I have actual experience with cutting myself on floor tiles.
Yeah. Also, very useful kind of quality of life things, and these are just basic things in the game. If you look towards the top right there, you'll actually see a sort of tracker of all of our materials. So we've got currency, which is spirit stones, influence, which is like a special thing for your sect, and then we have the various different broad categories. So like, for instance, food. And then if you click on them, it actually gives a full breakdown of specific types of things in there.
It's like we've got the bread we started with. We have a bunch of rabbit meat that we started with, which I really should go and actually do something with before it spoils.
Pretty sure that's a clan.
Make all the dried meat.
Yes, Unicorn is one of the clans in L5R.
Okay. Build some beds. Build doors. And thus we will protect our people from the elements.
Yeah, so once a door is actually in place, it becomes defined as a room. So you can see the sort of walls there, gained roofs and stuff like that. And then also we can click on it, and it will give us information about the room itself.
Yeah. So the room temperature is 33 degrees. It's bare-boned. It's normal. It's common. Basically, this is a normal room with no attractive features.
Yeah, the factors it's going for, there's temperature, there is sort of the quality of the room, there is the crampedness of the room, and there is the attractiveness of the room. These all play into feng shui.
Yep.
We do not have the ability yet to see highly specific, detailed information about the feng shui. That will come later once we are able to build a special building.
Alright. Alright. Now, ideally, we probably also want to start building like a dining room of some kind. Because people don't just like to eat their food. Huh?
Look at you being fucking fancy.
Look, most of my instinct in this game goes off of RimWorld logic, and people don't want to eat their food out in the...
I'm like 16 hours into my current sect and still haven't built a dining room.
They don't need to put a place for people to eat. They just pick stuff up off the ground.
Alright.
I mean, basically, yeah.
Let's see. The other thing I want to do is I want to do some more exploring.
I mean, in fairness, at least half of my sect doesn't eat anyways, because I've got a bunch of inner disciples at this point. But also some frozen corpses, but we don't talk about those.
Delicious.
Yeah, it's another bowl. Aha, and over here is some rock, some more crate, and also some deposits of igneo copper,
Bless you.
jade rock, a whole bunch more igneo copper, and some iron. We definitely want to start like mining out down this way. I don't think we can do smelting yet. No. We need to be a little higher level for smelting. But still get some stone. Oh. And make an iron pickaxe. You pickaxe before.
Now, one thing that is important one thing that is somewhat important to consider when you start mining out sort of the various rock areas like that is it's usually a good idea to like not completely mine them, but rather to leave sort of an outer structure, because natural stone will provide better earth feng shui than walls built of earth-aligned materials.
Yes.
So for later on, when you want earth-aligned spaces, your best availability of earth-aligned spaces is always going to be basically a carved-out mountain. You can probably right-click on the Hunter Green Hurt message to get it to go away now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you can.
No, the world must know that I am continually hurt. My boo-boo.
I don't think you're even hurt anymore.
Oh, it hurts so much.
Nope, you're very healthy.
Oh, god damn it.
Ah, the worst status condition of all. Perfectly healthy.
Uh-oh. Oh, it happened. Alright. Well, we were victorious. And none the worse for wear, because our friend, the mysterious cultivator, came in and just bodied that bull. Now, the bull is unconscious. We can feed the bull. If we wanted to try domesticating the bull.
Not gonna lie, the first thought that popped in my head after you said it is, feed it to what?
We definitely need food storage as well. Let's see. Bograt, in your opinion, is it worth trying to get the bull right now, or?
You don't really have the resources necessary to start cultivating animals, so
Yeah. All right.
you're better off just killing it and using its meat.
All right. Bring that over. Make a heck of a lot of dried meat out of that.
Like, I don't think you yet even have access to building, like, the animal-specific areas.
Jade essence, jade. Browse.
So you can kind of notice as stuff is messed about with here, different things have like the names, different colors, much like many other games. This sort of indicates rarity or special traits of things. So like for instance, that jade essence which just got dropped off in the storage area here is blue named because it is a spirit relic, which also means that once we actually start having cultivators, that is actually a very good element to put in place where either an earth or metal cultivator is going to be working, because it gives off a fair amount of key of rock element. And ideally, you eventually aim to have cultivators of at least the 5 basic schools, as well as some other schools if you feel like it.
Yeah.
Definitely not Dracula. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh no, Dracula.
Again?
Do you remember what
Oh, it's
side
Dracula.
needs to be for the kitchen?
Kitchens, I believe, want west-facing doors.
Okay.
If it's wrong, it won't be too big of a deal to move it. Honestly, I usually, by this point, have fed somebody the pill and made a cultivator so that I can build the compass.
That's true. I think it's about time that we feed this to Krampus, if only so that an animal doesn't eat it, as I have seen happen. Alright, so yeah, you can see he's immediately got 25,000 foundation. You can immediately promote. We choose the only law that we know. It's a 151% match. Good. Alright. And now he is just going to sit there and contemplate the universe in his place in it.
Place is apparently on the ground.
Yeah. Okay. Alright.
So you can see off on the right-hand side there, we now have 2 things that have little red marks on them.
Yes. We have work, because someone got taken off the work roster.
Which means we no longer have anybody working certain tasks because we do not have people assigned to logger, chef, or healer.
Yeah. And
To be fair, you only have 2 of us.
yes.
We can only do so much.
All right, and the other thing is now we can establish a sect. Of course, we're going to be yes, Goblin House. All right. And we unlock decorations, we unlock more buildings. We need to set a sect leader. And there's only one person that sect leader can be. Because there's only one person who's an inner disciple now. Yes, the Krampus will lead you all into immortality.
Yeah, through
Not so
that
sure
sect
about that.
menu, you can also set like laws for your sect and things like that, which determine sort of how, basic info, and then sect
Laws.
rules and laws. So the laws are just the laws we have, but then sect rules, these can be basically sort of automated ways. They all default to asking for sect instruction, which means it will always prompt us when stuff comes up. But we can set defaults. So, like, for instance, if we don't want to be bothered about strange tales, we could set it to ignoring, and we will never receive those pop-ups.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, also, if we select the Krampus, we can see that things are a little different.
Yeah.
So now the Krampus has these 3 new bars, Key, Mental State, and Mood. Key will gradually build up as time goes on, and that is used for using the actions that inner disciples have access to. Mental State basically gradually goes down as you train your key and stuff like that, and has an effect on the successive actions. And mood likewise is affected usually by surroundings, how, what good food they've eaten, all that kind of stuff, and also has an impact on their abilities. Down at the bottom underneath there, you can see we have a bunch of different little buttons. Those are actually added by one of our mods and just lets us kind of tell them what to focus on rather than having to be extremely fiddly about manual shit.
Yeah. So we can just say, hey, practice. And then it'll basically raise up key, focus on mind to do mental state, things like that.
Yeah, and if we click on the little yin-yang now, we can see the sort of full cultivation menu that arrives. So now we are working on man-made fire. Our inner cauldron is currently empty, and we need 1,200 cultivation in order to reach man-made fire and attempt our first breakthrough.
Also, hey, Shiv.
Hey!
I've been here the whole time.
Haha!
I'm sorry.
Forgot to unmute yourself, huh?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Drops unmute itself
one-
and join the channel and a few other things.
One real quick one, we probably do want to make sure to go and have Krampus grab that sword that we got out of the box.
That's a manual?
Oh, never mind, it's a manual.
Yeah, that's a manual.
Okay, never mind. Just because one of the things about inner disciples is they will get very upset if they don't have an artifact, so you will probably want to look into getting an artifact sometime, making an artifact sometime soon for them.
Yes.
Like, it won't have a major impact, it's just you will maintain much better mood by giving them an artifact.
Right. Let's see. Go for hunting. Vince is tired.
That being said, you should be able to have Krampus read those manuals now as well.
Yeah. Yes. How... do I just have him equip him, or?
Oh, right. No, you actually have to build the bookshelves first. Never
I
mind.
had to build a place for him to read.
Lib. Yep.
Can't read books if you don't have a bookshelf. That's just common sense. I mean, not really. But...
Oh, build some timber. All right. And work continues. So, basically,
You may want to adjust the Krampus real quick.
what's that?
Mentally unstable.
Yep. Focus on getting your mind back up, buddy. I think I need to build leisure of some kind. Yes, bird cage. Over here and play with the birds.
And again, much like many of these games, all of these sort of initial buildings are just getting stuff done real quick and will probably be redone at some point later on.
Yeah, these are all just in progress kind of things for...
It is worth noting we should go over to sect buildings.
Sect building. Yes, we do need the
and build the observatory.
Yep. That is something we need to do sooner rather than later. Actually, we'll use some more marble for it. Let's see. Oh, it's become a bit of a night owl. Alright. So yeah, it takes a while to build the more complex buildings and stuff. The more construction you have, the faster it builds. Alright, and now we have the most important building in the game. So, if we click this button up here that just appeared, and we put our mouse cursor over something, it will then show us the various elemental levels that are in that given area. So you can see what a given room or even given tile is balanced towards.
So this is important for seeking out areas that are high in certain elements when you're trying to set up, rooms for cultivation and things like that. And there's also one other thing which building the observatory allows us to do, which is if we click a completed room, well, you have to go. It'll actually give us the little feng shui symbol there, which will tell us specifically the feng shui details thereof.
Yeah.
And as you can see there, the plus 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 bedroom is because we have the door on the right side for a bedroom.
Yes. Whereas I believe that would be triple negatives if we didn't.
It's usually not triple negatives. It's usually just like one negative, possibly two negative.
Okay. Let's get out of compass mode. Produce some brownstone offcut. Because to make flooring, you have to have offcut, but offcut's dirt cheap to make. I use 1 brownstone and I get 100 offcut, which is going to suffice for both of these rooms. And yeah, if we go over here, we go here. This is not a room yet because it's missing one tile there.
No, but the one above it is.
Yeah. Also, Krampus just flew. That's a thing that inner cultivators do.
Yep. Yeah, there's kind of a standard set of powers that is available to all inner disciples, which involve things like flying, ignoring walls, technically talking to animals.
That's not really that impressive when you have a couple of them working for you.
Okay. And now... moment, we need a stove. Okay, so as I understand it, based on the laws of elements and stuff, if I was to hypothetically build it out of igneo copper, it would be a better stove. But it would also catch on fire more often.
Actually, it wouldn't catch on fire more often. So the thing about that specifically is, technically speaking, the best material for building a stove would be a wood-aligned material. That will catch the fuck on fire.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So you are actually probably best making it out of igneo copper.
Yeah. Build it out of igneo copper. I also need a well.
That you actually probably want to build out of something metal aligned.
Yes, metal line. Yes, because metal begets water. Oh, we got plenty of iron. I'll make a well. Similar thing here. We're not going to make like one for each room, but we are going to make a water thing here so people have access to fresh water, because that's important. Also, mental state, you're back up to good mental state. Rock on, buddy. You've got cultivating to do. And the whole reason I built these rooms in the first place, because food stored inside of a room decays slower than food that's just out on the ground.
So if you select the area and hit the sort button, it will force them to reconsider where stuff is.
Yeah, because we need to be thinking about this. Yeah, there we go. So, it's only been 3 days in game, so we still got a reasonable amount of time before we come to the great decision as to whether or not Vince joins our sect for real or murders us all by trampling us to death. I'm assuming he just needs to be as high as possible on the scale, or is there particular stats we're looking to target?
The higher their foundation, the better chance they are of making it, especially if they've actually already started taking on a school. But it is just like any other, just like the breakthroughs and things like that from schools. It is a tribulation. It just has chances.
Got it. Okay. Build the stove. Fahrenheit. Yeah, Krampus is out making explosions in the middle of the night.
So you may notice that the little yin-yang symbol next on the Krampus' side there has a plus sign on it. That means he has enough to gain inspirations. These are the actual abilities associated with the various different schools. And they do various different things as they explain when you hover over them.
Yeah, so like this will greatly increase max key. I can cure a target's inner injuries using Panacea. I can bring about sunny weather, and although bringing about sunny weather does burn lifespan to do it, so and just have key blasts, basically, some type of key attack. I also have the abilities down here, which are just like passives. Artifact mastery, alchemy, artifact crafting, stuff like that. So if I wanted to put stuff into there, I could. I think we are probably just going to go for Helios Gaze. Just to give him a higher... Observatory can be used to observe. We have a well, so people have clean water. At some point or another, people will start showing up. And you always want to keep an eye on the animals around here, not just because you're either going to hunt them or you're afraid that they're going to hunt you, but because at certain points, the animals can start getting funny ideas. Start having thoughts. And if an animal awakens like that, it can start literally gaining like thought shards. And if you, through a mini game you play with it over time, that animal could turn into a yokai, meaning that like
Yaogwai, but yeah.
Yaogwai, sorry. Yaogwai, my But for example, like theoretically, this bull could start thinking about like clouds and stuff, and if it had enough thoughts about clouds and other stuff, you focus on your mind, buddy. What happened to you? Okay. But yeah, if it had enough thoughts like that, it could turn into a bull Yao Guai and be another person, just like Vince over here. Although Vince, I think, is a boar Yao Guai.
Yeah, I think that was what it was.
Yes.
Yeah, boar. Yeah, so even the animals could just get up and decide to be more than they were the day before.
You may notice as you pull up character like profiles like that, they do also have traits down at the bottom.
Yes.
So, like for instance, boar Yao Guai, and omnivorous. It is worth noting there are obviously animal types that are specifically carnivorous. You don't necessarily lose these traits when you become human.
Yeah,
So it is entirely possible to have purely carnivorous or herbivorous humans.
Yep. And here we can actually see the thoughts that led to a random boar out in the wild becoming Vince. And on day 65 of year 212, he was a bit anxious and had a realization about weapons. On day 27, he used perception of angry in the realization field. He thought about fences. He thought about himself. He thought about pants. And he thought about the moon. These are the kind of thoughts that everyone has.
Haven't you had deep thoughts about the fences before? I know I have.
Kind of, when I was building one, and usually those thoughts were, I fucking hate this fence.
Mine is, goddammit, why'd you make your fence so complicated to open?
Alright. Do some more exploring. We got a wide map to look at.
That being said, you do want to exercise some caution when exploring the map of your sect area, because there is guaranteed to be a demon on it.
Yep. At some...
Now, mind you, he's not awake yet.
No, he's not.
It actually takes them a while to wake up, but you are guaranteed to have a demon on your map.
Also, tiger. Tiger. Hunter Green goes to touch the stove. Uh-oh. Okay, we're good.
Ouch, that's hot.
We're good. The muscles in your right foot were cut, but we're still good. Okay, so we sent you out to open a box next to a tiger for what turned out to be 60 blue fabric. I would consider this a victory. Thank you for suffering for the group, Hunter.
What'd I do?
Hey, you got a 60 blue fabric.
Tigers, as you might expect, are some of the most aggressive animals in the game.
Yep.
From what I understand, that is not too far off from actual tigers in the wild.
I think the only animals that actually have a higher aggression stat than tigers are frogs, and that's because of a joke.
Huh.
Toads/frogs are virtually incapable of actually hurting you in this game, so it does not matter that they have massive aggression.
Amazing.
You can also get some incredibly aggressive turtles.
Dude, turtles can get pissed off as fuck. They're just, slow.
If I remember correctly, while turtles do not have extremely high aggression by default, I believe they have the widest variance of possible aggression from any of the wild animals.
Ah.
I have anyone who's... Oh, right. Okay. That's why that's not happening. You cannot perform healing on yourself. So if you are the healer,
Yeah, so
and
you pull back
hurt,
up the... If you pull the injury listing back up real quick, we can kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yep.
So you can see, as you hover over Cut Serious, it'll actually say, like, details about it. So right now the status is it will recover fully in 1.2 days. If you don't treat stuff, it will eventually get worse and can lead to, like, limbs being lost or death.
Yeah, so you always want to make sure you're healing.
It's also one of the reasons why True Sun Refining is one of the better, like, starting schools, and is actually sort of the recommended one for beginners, because it has Panacea. And Panacea is basically just the cultivator uses key and just heals shit.
Yep. Hunter Green really wants to talk to somebody about wood walls. Namely, why aren't you helping me build this wood wall?
Look, it's very important. Wood walls keep the crazy animal people out, except not really. There aren't crab people, are there? Or
And
crab
eventually,
guy?
everyone's a crab person.
I was gonna say, are there crab guy?
I do not believe crabs are one of the animals in this game now.
No.
Although one of the DLC might add it, because I do remember one of the DLC is actually, like, sea focused.
Build a little training area back here.
Please note, despite the item itself being called Wooden Dummy, you can make this out of any material, including iron, as terrible an idea as it seems.
I want to go punch this iron column.
Say, I'm going to train by punching this wooden dummy made of iron. Ow, my fist. Why does this keep
one
happening?
way to make your fist stronger.
Or, broken.
Oh, you got to toughen up.
Alright, we're building the manual pavilion over here so that we can put all of the books into the manual pavilion. Ah, the warmth of spring. Just a generic "it's spring" message. Do we display them in the pavilion? Is that how that works?
No, you need to do transcribe.
Transcribe, okay.
Yeah, so you copy the manual into the manual pavilion, and then you can study the manual from the manual pavilion.
Area. Cancel the job here, and we're going to use the stove. Because the stove has better returns on stuff. Very powerful spirit tree. Look at it shimmer. Your mental state back up. I'll let you go for a little bit more. Plot back here is about 20% grown. I really should make another plot. And yeah, now we have fallen into kind of the familiar gameplay loop. There's a lot of stuff we still need to do. We still need to build up and... Hold on a second. Our injury has deteriorated on... Oh, just a scar. Okay. Yeah, technically it's a deterioration if it turns into a scar, but... That's fine. You better... Okay. Train, buddy.
You should also work on transcribing those other manuals.
Yes. And Panacea, and then transcribe. Manual. Manual's already been transcribed. We're at it. Where do I make skins? All right, where do I make?
That is the. Well, what are you trying to make exactly?
As I recall, you gotta use the hides for something. I think mine's still in.
Those are just. Those you just make clothing out of them.
Okay,
it's
straight.
not a huge like. Yeah, it's not a huge complex thing of like, oh, you have to tan them to turn them into leather, blah blah blah. No, you can just use them as materials. So just the sewing station.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, sewing table. Build people better clothes. Plus, we have all that blue fabric.
Well,
You have. Yeah.
quote unquote better. I don't think any of your people are particularly good at sewing, actually.
Let's check on that. Taylor. Hunter's got 32.
32 is not terrible, but
Yeah.
it'll probably take more than a few attempts to actually make anything decent.
I mean, that's how you get better in theory.
Let's see. And... yeah, we can grow all sorts of different stuff, and I think just having these as a garden of something gives you the element that it shows. Like if we grew these sanguinea,
It influences it influences the feng shui in the area towards that element. Yes.
Okay. Actually, I think we need. Yeah, cotton. This should be enough for 3 people. I think.
2.
Or 2 people, yeah, right, because Krampus doesn't eat.
Keep transcribing the manuals, remember?
Oh, yeah. Transcribe, manual, this. That manual cannot be transcribed, so put in the obliterating sword.
What was the manual that said it can't be transcribed?
The Records of the Immortals, Volume 2.
Ah, yes. That is a... I believe if you click on that, you should have the option to, like, read or something, or equip, yeah.
Yeah.
It does a thing to, whoever's carrying it.
So probably something to give
If
to...
you look at if you look at the description of it, I think it'll tell you what it does.
Let's see. Look, those in the last 1,000 years.
Yeah, there we go. Acquire information on the following locales: Realm of Enigma,
Oh, yeah.
Caprolia of the Southern Seas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Well, those have been transcribed. You can now study from that manual pavilion.
And we can learn these...
Oh, wait, no.
3 abilities.
Yep.
Ah. Some sort of elixir refinement. Using a dying character, you have a certain chance of... Ah! Rip knowledge out of the dying! That seems like an evil ability.
That is, in fact, an evil ability.
Okay.
Anything that involves dealing with dying things that doesn't involve like making them not die is considered evil.
I mean, death is just part of nature.
Yes, but ripping the knowledge out of something dying is in fact not part of nature.
Oh no, no, that's absolutely evil.
Casual shirt and casual pants. Alright. Go have fun. In fact, let's have multiple people have fun. Alright. Oh, fire mantle. Made out of blue fabric. I'd make some bowl pants. Vince, as always, standing out there taunting the bowl.
Well, somebody has to.
Generally shouting obscenities at it.
It knows what it did. Or not, you know, it's a bull. They're not exactly sentient.
Yeah. We're start getting some metal. Oh.
This is the other thing we can do now that we actually have an inner disciple, which is send them around to places, go on adventures,
Yep.
explore and shit.
I can send them over to like Mount Full Moon, Mount Barren, the village. Yeah, we can either send them to camp and then they'll just have adventures there, or we can go on an actual adventure where we go to a different map and lead the disciple around doing stuff. So I think we're going to send Krampus out on an adventure to Mount Barren. Get the chance to pick up some cotton.
And you can see on this map as well, we have the task and secret things down in the bottom right there. Those will sometimes have certain things come up. that we've heard like rumors of or have gotten
Yeah.
information about that we can go send disciples to investigate and get special bonuses.
So now, the Krampus has gone on an adventure, and basically we're just waiting for either the timer to run out or for fun, adventurous things to happen. Note: fun not guaranteed. And yeah, we've been gathering up various sect rumors as things are going on. Places have gotten more powerful. Sages have disappeared.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of various sects and organizations around. There's a whole like diplomacy system in this game that involves currying favor with them and giving gifts and all that. As you may have noticed on the map, a bunch of areas are red. Oh, Vince is being attacked.
Oh,
Again.
what did he attack by?
Stop attacking or stop staring at bulls. You wouldn't keep getting attacked by stuff that's probably not bulls.
Yeah, the bulls. Okay. He messed with the bull,
Okay.
he got the horns.
You were
So
warned.
on that world map, there were some areas that were in red. Those are controlled by sects, which do not currently allow us in their area.
Yeah. We also have various sect movements that are happening. But we are a small and insignificant speck on the political map right now, so a lot of things are just kind of flying over our heads. Resource collection. Got 20 cotton. Oh, yeah. Alright. Now it's time to start thinking about a forge. Now that we're actually getting some metal. Let's see. And out of... Ignite copper. Then area. Metal bars. So the next thing that we're really waiting on is we're waiting for someone to actually show up here. Or... yeah, he just shows us out. And yeah, this is just a very powerful spiritual area down here next to that tiger. Oh no, a thick fog. Talk to the chicken. Walk out, stare at the chicken. You know, after thinking about it, I have done everything I should do with this chicken.
The secrets of the universe.
Yep.
Look, one of these days the chicken's gonna talk back.
I don't like the fact of what you're suggesting. It's like I have a problem when humans talk back to me. I don't want to imagine the animals who I plan on eating talking back to me.
Oh. Vince is not doing bad in the old cultivation department. Taking his training very seriously.
You may want to consider talking to the mysterious cultivator soon.
Yeah, that's true. Because he will disappear after a certain point. Alright.
You want to do the consult one, not the...
Ah, right. So, there we go. Alright.
Okay, yeah, so you're on good track.
Ah, so talking with him, he'll say, like, oh, you need this, or you should do this.
Yep.
Okay. Good to know. I think... think if we make a cushion out here, it might be better for meditation for Krampus when he gets back.
Yeah, probably not a bad spot.
Surrounded by trees. All right. Hunter touched the stove again. All right, good job.
Yay! Oh! Every time it hurts so bad.
Hold on.
What happens if I touch the... I'm sure it's fine.
I've burned all the nerve endings in my fingers. Now the stove will not hurt me.
It's true. Can't feel
Oh,
pain if you have no nerves.
Cannot hurt if you cannot feel.
True. Anyone who says otherwise has obviously not touched the stove enough.
Okay, cool. We've moved the fabric over, so every interaction with the fabric is not a dice roll.
Sure, take away all the fun of my day.
It's studiously working.
There's a time in this sect when we were allowed to touch stoves of our own free will. But I guess it's no longer that time.
Alright.
Not a whole lot, Vorton. We moved our fabric away from the tiger so as to stop tempting fate.
I'm sure
If
this
you are looking to recall, if you're looking to recall Krampus from the adventure, you need to go to the map. You actually click on the little,
There
yeah,
we
yeah,
go.
yeah, recall.
Now he'll return in 206 seconds. When he returns, he'll probably come in the same way he left, which means he gets to go through Tiger Alley again.
Good old Tiger Alley.
Oh, and while we're here... make a sword. Well, a blade. And there's Krampus flying back home on his sword.
Yay!
Isn't the generally accepted thing in, like, the martial arts flicks, they throw the sword and then ride it?
I mean, it kind of varies wildly.
Okay.
Definitely not an uncommon thing if they're a swordsman of some sort to be able to do that. But some of them just fly. Some of them technically walk on air. Like, it all varies depending upon what school they're part of.
Turtle. 2 turtles. Bunch of angry turtles. Actually, I don't know the mood of these turtles.
I mean, they're turtles. They're probably ill-natured.
Yeah.
Back to work, buddy. There you go. Your new fancy cushion. Yeah, that's 1.44 per second. I think that's better than he was getting when he was just sitting in his room. Hey.
One of your cultivators' training has reached a limit. As cultivators train, it's normal to come across limits, but only by breaking through it can they continue training.
Now,
Yep.
we have
There are
reached our
different
first
ways
potential
to break
breakthrough,
through different limits depending on the traits
which
of
is the way you
limit
make it
in
to the
question.
next
Keep them
level
into
of a
account
given
so as to enhance the ability
school.
of the cultivator to break the limit.
Yeah. So now I'm assuming we can click on the spark here and attempt to.
I don't remember if you can click on Spark or not, but on the main thing, yeah,
There
there
we
you
go.
go. Okay.
Okay.
It will actually let you do it. So now if you click select location, or no, click breakthrough. Never mind. You need to do that, and then it'll have you go to like sort of the targeting reticle, and you can see the chance of success in various different places, and also what factors are contributing to that percentage.
Yeah.
80% is probably about the best you're going to get since you don't have
Yep.
highly specialized rooms set up. So go for it.
All right, and now we go.
Now
for
it is worth noting, if the breakthrough fails, you don't actually lose your progress. You basically just need to wait for the key to build back up.
Okay. Yeah, you can see the cost here of breakthrough. Over here, so we just have to wait for.
And every time you have failed a breakthrough, it actually increases the chances of succeeding the next time.
As I recall, there are certain laws you can try and do that have catastrophic chances for failure. Like small chances for catastrophic failure. But if it happens, something real bad happens.
Not as much. More so, like, for instance, the one you're on right now. If Krampus does fail this, he's going to get injured.
Yeah.
That's just how True Sun works.
Alright, well, ignore the glowing in the forest, guys. You got work to do.
And as you get to higher and higher levels, you then have to basically start dealing with basically repercussions for being a dick.
That doesn't sound like real life at all.
The more, like, there are certain acts you can take which make heaven angry with you, and the angrier heaven is with you when you attempt a breakthrough, you then have to undergo tribulations, which can be things like, you know, summoning fucking tornadoes to attack you while you attempt to break through. Wild animals, all turning hyper-aggressive towards you.
A cat!
Ah, the cat.
Get.
Kitty!
If you find this cat, you can adopt it.
Where is the cat? Where is the cat?
I think that's priority now. We have to find the cat.
I have to find the cat.
You should be able to scroll in a little bit.
There it is.
And
Female cat.
so if you go on that, you have your options now. You can banish, you can follow, you can communicate.
Yeah.
Cat whisper.
Yay!
Go talk to the cat.
Well, since you got along so well with the tiger,
He got along with the tiger. He had a conversation with the chicken, short as it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see the name on that cat is like in gray rather than red. That means it is technically friendly.
friendly as a cat can be.
I was gonna say, as a cat can be, which means it'll follow me around if I feed it once. And will, when I'm randomly sitting somewhere, get on my lap and demand attention.
That very much depends on the cat.
I mean, if I'm not trying to pay attention to it or try to get its attention, it'll jump in my lap because it wants my
That
attention.
very much depends on the cat.
Yes.
I know one cat that will never jump in your lap.
I mean, you say that, but she has jumped in Vince's lap.
Okay, and the serious cultivator's leaving.
Yep, you accomplished a breakthrough. So, yep, you're good. The cat's gonna stick around now unless you tell it to banish, basically.
Yes, good kitty.
Yay!
You can also specify specific areas for animals to be in through the build menu. It is a type of area called a pasture.
In theory, this kitty will help protect us from vermin eating our grain.
And basically, once you set a pasture, you can then assign an animal to it, just like you would assign people to a bedroom or whatnot.
Right.
And they will generally just kind of stick around that area.
Okay.
You should go check on the Krampus.
Uh-huh. Okay. Alright, we made a
Which
breakthrough.
has, has made it past the line and is working your way towards man-made fire.
Yes.
Did not fucking obliterate yourself.
That's good.
That's always a good sign. Let's see. Do they just have to get to higher levels to get
Yes,
these?
hence why it says core shaping, golden core, primordial spirit,
Right,
and
okay.
demigod. You are currently in key shaping. You only have access to key shaping abilities.
Got it.
Innate key is not a bad ability to pick up, actually.
Yeah.
It's a decent attack.
One of your cultivators has learned a spell. Spells can only be used in battle. Spells can be cast by accessing the spell section on the
Okay.
right side.
Especially considering that True Sun
Spells are
is a
extremely
spellcasting
powerful, but they consume chi, so they should
law.
be used with caution.
So
Okay.
you want attack spells.
Yep. Let's see. I have to spend a thing
Yep.
on that. Okay.
It is free, though. You just now know about that place.
Yep.
Which, if I remember correctly, should now be a location on the world map you can go to. I think that was it down at the bottom, actually. The Mount Carulia.
Oh yeah. Hermitage for the Immortal Carulia, Forest Ascension. It's like one drop of water, or true water in the South Sea. Sure. Let's go on an adventure. We haven't done that yet.
That's not what you're thinking. So what you did before is camp, which is just you sit there for 28 days and have adventures. What you were thinking of, where you actually go on the map, is when you are camping there, you can then enter.
Oh, okay. Adventure is just the one where you go and you do a event there.
You go and immediately come back. Yeah.
Okay.
That being said, you don't have the ability to actually enter Mount Carulia because, as mentions there, you need a secret law to actually find the place.
Okay. Auto-saving. And hey, every time the Krampus leaves the map, there's another chance to find the demon.
Anywhere.
Well,
It's usually in one of the corners.
yeah. It's usually in one of the corners. Okay. And more of this, like Bograt was saying, leave a room because it's really useful to have. We need to build an earth room. "61 days." Yeah, whenever you have a Yao Guai in your group, there's always that timer hanging above your head.
On the bright side, it makes it very easy to boil an egg. Get the timing perfect.
I know the exact fraction of my time left on this mortal plane that I need to cook an egg. Let's Ah, look, a boar. And a decomposed body. That's not an omen.
Hey kids, want to see a dead body?
I'm got an iron sword. He also got into a fight with female boar. A hoof.
Who hasn't?
Minor injury. Oh.
Your comment about who hasn't has major. For me, it was a Tuesday energy.
Let's see. Krampus came to the South Seas, according to the secret manual. After searching the area numerous times, the drop of true water was finally found in the boundless waves. Krampus touched it and was able to enter the water. A towering blue immortal mountain appeared ahead. Peering off in the distance, it looks like a bamboo hut on the mountainside. The peak was shrouded by strange jet black clouds from which lightning was shooting. Well, I guess if absent of any information, let's proceed to the bamboo hut. Let's see. Diagram of formation on the table. Full grooves in the diagram.
First, always remember the golden rule: touch fuzzy, get dizzy.
Inject magic. All right. Well, fine. It's a whole text adventure. Monsters Mountain. Drop of water. We visited other earthly paradises? Alright, I'll take your word for it. Okay, we got something out of it. I don't know what these heaven's breaths are. Uh-oh. Well, a group of Yaoguai cultivators harbor great hatred towards your sect for some reason, and are about to launch an assault.
You know you did.
Okay, so...
Quote, for some.
Boar. Bear. Well, okay.
I want you to know that for once I had nothing to do with it. So that I can recall.
I know you didn't. It's just the local Yaoguai beefing.
I mean, are any of them cow or bulls? In which case they're literally beefing.
Actually. Yeah, Hunter Green doesn't actually have bad battle stats. Okay. How hurt is everyone?
What I'm hearing is correct. I just don't have terrible I don't have terrible stats in anything, but I'm not necessarily great at anything, which I'm cool with.
Yeah.
That's pretty typical for your starter.
Yeah.
Disciples.
Well, they did rupture your left thigh bone.
Ow.
Left thigh bone, right thigh muscles are punctured. Scar. Cut on your torso. You're fine.
You may want to check them as well to make sure they're not just unconscious.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Oh, yep, they are just unconscious. Oh, no, he's a corpse.
Oh, that one's a corpse. But Juan is just unconscious. So you can attack him again and it'll kill him off. Then you can search the bodies and then dump them near your fields.
Yep.
As you usually do.
It'll make our plants grow strong.
There we go. Vince is applying some first aid to you. Vince, how did you fare in this fight? Well, your shoulder and your shin were punctured.
Not so soon.
Okay.
Don't bury them. They don't deserve that.
Oh,
Just move.
just move them next to your fields. Got it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't put it past this game to make that turn the wheat evil or something.
It now becomes zombie wheat.
Ooh.
I also would have laughed so hard if they'd shown up in like one of the other corners with the tigers and the tigers had mauled them to death. We're here to fight you. Oh no! Oh no! What are all these tigers doing here?
Oh, you didn't realize about our natural defenses of tigers.
We can't leave, but you can't enter. Except for our boss, he just flies his sword out of here. Or thinks really loudly about bird calls or something.
As one does.
Just said, chirp, chirp, motherfucker. We have no idea what it means.
Oh man, the Krampus is going to be so disappointed when he gets back. There was a fight without him.
Oh, there'll be more fights.
It's just not the same.
Time for some herbs to harvest. These herbs are what they use to heal wounds.
Is it Resident Evil?
Basically. Alright.
Speaking of, Wesker in Dead by Daylight is apparently a lot of fun.
I have.
We'll see how he survives the PTB. But
Yeah, that's true.
one thing I will say is there's nothing in that game funnier to me than his run animation.
That's understandable. Yeah.
What's his run animation?
Literally just fucking full tilt, like arms pump, dashing at people.
Especially great if you have them in the state where you just toss them afterwards.
Okay, we had a minor incident with the stove, but we're fine. We had a second minor incident with the stove, but we're fine.
Was I involved this time?
Do we not know how to use a stove?
No, apparently not. That's 2 times in a row. They've been using it fine for a while.
You do need to select those parts of the wall and repair them.
Yes. Rebuild. Okay.
Yeah, looks like Hunter is back to healthy again.
Yep. Vince nursed him back to health. And they formed a bond like 2 brothers.
I'm gonna die, aren't I?
While building the brownstone wall, Hunter Green started thinking about their father, Hunter Key. Oh, long line of hunters. Hunter, Hunter, Hunter.
Ironically, none of them actually hunters.
No.
Yeah.
It's a name, not a title.
That being said, it is 9:30 and it's about our usual wrap-up point.
Alrighty.
So, this is a good place to save for the moment. Got our sect started. We probably need to start building more elaborate stuff. We need to go out to other villages and start recruiting. But, good start. I think we're probably going to do, like, maybe 1 more of these, maybe 2 more, but it's generally going to be a short-form series. I wanted to more show the game off than,
Yeah.
think. How much? I want to say this is, like, $19.99. Vorton. I want to say it's $20 for this game. Maybe 30?
Let me see.
I know it's not 50.
It is $24.99. It does go on sale decently often, though.
Yep, and it's got DLC you can get for it that adds even more stuff. But anyway, thank you for joining us tonight on our Sound Goblin Tuesday gaming stream. Join us on Thursdays. We continue through Banner of the Maid and see if the plot coalesces into something more than just chasing down whoever broke into the Louvre.
And or just fighting random not French
Yeah,
on
basically.
the European continent.
The plot's kind of meandered a little in that game.
Yeah.
Join us on Sunday, I believe, and we will be beginning our playthrough of Super Robot Wars V? V. Okay. And finally getting back to Super Robot Sundays. Join us on Monday for the continuing adventures of the Tarnished in Elden Ring. And join us back here on Tuesday as we continue to build our sect of cultivators in Amazing Cultivation Simulator. Until then, I've been your host, the Krampus.
I've been Bograt.
I've been Shiv.
I've been Hunter Green.
And I'm Vincent.
All right. Tune in, everyone. Bye bye.
Have a good one.
Goodbye.